Dear friend, over the years I have spoken with thousands of people, business leaders, teachers, young people struggling with debt, and adults afraid of public speaking. But in all their eyes I saw the same expression, the same question asked in silence: why don't they care about me? Let me be honest with you, you are not the first person to ask this question, and let me tell you this: as long as this question is asked from the wrong place, it will consume a person. Being disregarded, a weight man places upon himself. In my youth, I met a sales representative who was well-dressed and spoke clearly, yet his face was always tense. He said to me, "Mr. Carnegie, no one takes me seriously. I speak in meetings, but no one listens." I asked him, "So what are you doing?" And he replied, "I explain more. I justify myself more." And right there we stopped. I told him, the more a man explains himself, the less he is heard. This man's problem was not that people didn't care about him. His problem was that he was trying to force their attention, and that effort exhausts a person from within. Why don't people care about you? Now, I will tell you a very comforting truth. People might not care about you because they have their own debts, their own fears, and they are fighting their own battles. Most people are busy carrying their own burdens, not looking down on someone else's life. But what do? We take someone's silence, we magnify their indifference, and we place it at the center of our minds, as if it were proof of our own value. This is where worry begins. Worry, the misuse of the mind. I have never viewed worry as a weakness. Worry is a mind working in the wrong direction. One day, a woman came to me and said, "I care about what everyone thinks of me, and it paralyzes me." So I asked her, "And how much do you care about what you think of yourself?" And she remained silent. Look, friend, let me tell you this. A person who constantly carries the opinions of others leaves no room for their own thoughts, and someone who leaves no room for their own thoughts cannot build their own life. Let me give you a secret. If you want to win people over, you must first accept this. Everyone doesn't have to love you, and everyone certainly doesn't have to understand you. This acceptance does not diminish a person. On the contrary, it lightens them. Because then your mind stops asking, "Why didn't they care about me?" and starts asking, "What am I focusing on right now?" And that is where power begins. The first lesson of silent power. While speaking on stage, I noticed that the most powerful people in the room were generally not the ones who spoke the most. They spoke at the right moment, they were silent at the wrong time, and they did not try to prove themselves. That is why they were listened to. People approach someone who is centered within themselves, not someone trying to prove themselves. Turning the indifference of others into a space of freedom. Now listen to this carefully. One day a student said to me, "No one cares about me." And I told him, "Wonderful, then you no longer have to waste energy on the wrong people." Being ignored is sometimes not a rejection. Sometimes it is an elimination, and life does not grow without making eliminations. I am closing this section with this. Dear friend, others not caring about you does not diminish you, but magnifying their indifference in your mind exhausts you. When you drop this weight, you think more clearly, you speak more calmly, and you offer fewer explanations. And ironically, that is when people begin to notice you.
Dear friend, now I will tell you about the most common mistake I have seen throughout my career. This is a mistake made by intelligent people. It is a mistake of well-intentioned people. And it is this: trying to prove yourself in order to win people over. The person who does this is not bad, but this habit silently drains all of one's energy. Where does the need to prove oneself come from? Years ago, I worked with a banker. In meetings, everyone acknowledged his knowledge, yet no one wanted to work with him. He said to me, "They see that I am right, but they still do not like me." I asked him this question: "What do you want to win in an argument?" "To be right," he said. That was the problem. People love the truth, but they distance themselves from the person who makes them feel wrong. And this is a universal law. Winning people over is not about being right. Let me be clear. You can win an argument, but you will lose the person. I saw this repeatedly while writing my first book. People were writing letters to me. One man said, "I win every argument with my wife, but she no longer speaks to me." I have not forgotten this sentence. Because that man's problem was not his relationship, his problem was his priority. Being right or winning people over. They are not the same thing. Let me tell you one more truth. People remember not how much you know, but how you made them feel. This is why I taught this. Even if you know the other person is wrong, you do not have to make them feel it. This is not a moral lesson. This is a law of influence. How is silent authority formed? Now pay attention. Authority does not come through a loud voice. It does not come with long sentences, and it certainly never comes by defending oneself. Authority comes from stillness. One day, I was watching an instructor of mine. Questions were being asked. Everyone was talking, and that man remained silent. When everyone grew quiet, he spoke a single sentence, and everyone listened. Why? Because people perceive a mind that does not rush as powerful. Definiteness of purpose, what saves a man from wavering. Now let me ask you this. If you do not know clearly what you want, why should the opinions of others not affect you? But if a man knows this is my way, then criticism does not change his direction and indifference does not shake his self-confidence. Definiteness of purpose is a person's inner compass, and a man with a compass does not get angry at the wind. Discipline, the training of the mind. Many people would ask me, "How do you stay so calm?" My answer was simple, because I do not believe every thought in my mind. Discipline is not opening the door to every thought and not acting on every emotion. Without this discipline, success is temporary and confidence is fragile. But with discipline, a man pulls himself together from within. The power of being service-oriented. Look, friend, throughout my life I have seen this. The person who puts themselves at the center shrinks. The person who adds value to others expands. A man once said to me, "I have nothing to give to anyone." I told him, "Then pull yourself together first, for service is the greatest restorer." Service takes a person out of worry, gathers attention to the right place, and puts the mind into production. And this is the foundation of financial and spiritual freedom. Persistence, what no one sees but changes everything. Finally, let me say this. Success does not come with sudden leaps, it comes through silent repetitions. Every day, the same discipline, the same calmness, the same focus. One day, people will say, "It happened all of a sudden," but you will know it did not happen suddenly. I am closing this section with this. Dear friend, to win people over, do not defend yourself, do not prove yourself, and do not explain yourself. Instead, be calm, be clear, and be consistent. And remember this, people do not follow you because you struggle, but because you remain centered. Dear friend, I want to take you now to the quietest hour of the day, that moment when no one demands anything from you and you don't have to prove yourself to anyone, to the night. Throughout my life, I have observed that people make decisions during the day, but at night they decide who they are. Yet most are not even aware of this.
In my youth, there was a period when I was deathly afraid of public speaking. You might smile at this today, but it is the truth. During the day, I would tell myself, "You can do this, Dale." But when I lay in bed at night, another voice would speak, "You will be a disaster. They will not take you seriously." It was then I realized that my daytime decisions were either being cancelled or reinforced by my nightly mental conversations, and the invisible war in most people's lives was being fought exactly there. People always asked me, how can I believe in myself more? And my answer was, change when you speak with your mind. For the mind is resistant in the crowd, defensive and skeptical, but in the silence, the mind listens. The night mind does not rush, does not argue, and does not resist. Therefore, the things a man says to himself at night leave a deeper impression. Look, friend, the people who didn't care about you during the day are not beside you at night, yet their voices wander through your mind. This is where I teach that the night is not for silencing the voices of others, but for simplifying your own. A student once said to me, "When I lie in bed, everything I experienced during the day spins in my head." And I told him, "Then you give them the final word." Now I will tell you about a simple but powerful habit I have taught hundreds over the years, a habit that makes no noise in your life, but when applied with consistency, realigns the mind. Step 1. Closing the day. When you lie in bed, accept this. What happened today has happened. I do not have to fix them right now. This sentence relaxes the mind because the mind clings most to unfinished things. Step 2. Returning to your center. Ask the question, today, did I live by what others thought or by my own compass? The answer might not please you, but that's fine, for the mind loves honesty. Step 3. Silent decree. Now choose a single sentence. For example, everyone doesn't have to understand me. My value is not measured by the reactions of others, or I know my direction. Do not repeat this sentence by force, just sleep with it, for the mind does its deepest learning when there is no resistance. A man once said to me years ago, "Mr. Carnegie, I am talented, but my life is not moving forward." So I asked him, "How long have you been determined about something?" And he remained silent, because determination is not enthusiasm or excitement. Determination is taking one small step in the same direction every day. And a universal law is this: life does not resist consistent directions.
Service, focus, and freedom. Let me be clear. The person who puts themselves at the center shrinks, while the person who adds value to others expands, because the focus of the mind shifts. A man once said to me, "My problems are too great." I told him, "Then pull yourself together first and become a solution to someone else's problem. Service is the greatest restorer, and your mind will expand." This is not romantic advice, it is a psychological mechanism. Debt, overwhelm, and the mind's escape. Debt does not frighten a man, uncertainty does, and uncertainty is born from mental disorder. But a disciplined mind goes to bed at the same hour, thinks at the same hour, and repeats the same direction. And after a while, life does this: it organizes itself. Mastery of fate. Dear friend, to be the master of your fate is not about shouting, it is not about controlling, and it is certainly not about establishing dominance. To be the master of your fate is this: not to obey every thought, not to act on every emotion, and not to take every voice seriously.
This is a silent mastery, and this mastery begins at night. Closing. Now, when you turn off this voice, life will not change immediately, but you will begin to change. You will offer fewer explanations, you will grow less weary, and you will become clearer. And one day you will notice the people who do not care about you are still there, but you are no longer carrying their burden. This is freedom.